Well, Linda, things have calmed down slightly outside the embassy in Cairo. It seems that the police and security services there, together with some of the military presence outside the embassy, have been able to slightly gain an upper hand on the protesters. We're hearing that a number of people have been detained. The figure we're getting is 17 people at least have been detained and are expected to be charged with offences regarding the attack. There's also a statement that's been made by one of the officials at the Interior Ministry claiming that outside hands, foreign forces, were behind the scuffles and the attack on the embassy tonight. As we know for certain, though, up to more than 500 people have been injured by the violence surrounding the embassy, and the situation still remains tense. Obviously, we're waiting to see what the official reaction of the interim leadership here, both the military and the interim cabinet, will be. But as it stands now, things still remain very tense and very volatile outside the embassy.
How has the security forces handled this, do you think?
Well, I mean, as we heard in my colleague's report just shortly, the situation is very precarious and it's very difficult to handle because on the one hand you have thousands, if not tens of thousands, of very angry Egyptians who have been getting more and more frustrated the longer the military rulers drag their feet in handing over authority in the country to a civilian government. And on the other, you have a military body governing a country and not being able to find some sort of middle ground to appease them. The situation a couple of weeks ago when we had several soldiers or police officers, Egyptian police officers, being killed on Egyptian land by Israelis just infatuated that. And we have to understand that there is a huge resentment towards Israel here in Egypt. The situation here is not like it just blew out in the past couple of weeks. If we go back to the revolution in January 25th and the massive protests we saw in Tahrir and Alexandria and Suez, a lot of the protesters who came out during the revolution came out brandishing Palestinian flags. There was a lot of anti-Israeli sentiment. One of the reasons why people were so angry with Mubarak was because of the gas sales to Israel and the close ties that they have there. So there is the anger towards Israel and towards Israel's policy towards Egypt, coupled with the fact that people believe that the Egyptian government has not done enough in terms of defending Egypt's dignity, particularly when we see situations like the cross-border attack by Israeli forces on the Egyptians a couple of weeks ago. That really does tip over, and therefore the security forces find themselves in this situation where they're faced with thousands of angry protesters and they're unable to contain them.
Jamal, mentioning there the political situation, what are the political ramifications of these overnight clashes?
Well, it's still early hours, but we have been hearing statements from practically every side. I mean, for starters, as we mentioned, the Israeli ambassador, his family, and up to 70 Israeli citizens were evacuated from Egypt's Cairo International Airport by a military plane headed towards Tel Aviv, which will obviously cause huge ruptures across the country and across the region. Bear in mind the fallout Israel's had with Turkey over the past few days. In the morning, in the coming hours, we're expecting a meeting by the interim Prime Minister, Assam Sharaf, and 4 cabinet members, a closed meeting together with a representative of the Supreme Council of Armed Forces, the military rulers of Egypt, where we'll expect some sort of statement from them. And obviously the situation as it stands now, everyone will try and make some sort of political gains. We're already seeing several opposition figures and political parties coming out either in support of what's taking place or denouncing the violence. But one thing is for certain, the ties between Israel and Egypt are nowhere near the same as they were under Mubarak, and there is very little chance that coziness that we saw for 30 years plus between Cairo and Tel Aviv will continue, at least not in the same state it was in before.
Thank you very much, Jamal. Shayyal reporting live from Cairo. And